What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back again with my Week 7 wide receiver rankings. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you guys have any questions or comments, all you have to do is drop them in the comment section down below. I respond to every single comment, so if you're looking for that fantasy football hotline, that customizable advice to your league, should I do this trade, should I do that trade, should I start this player, sit this player, should I cut this player? Whatever the question may be, you could go and ask your league mates who don't want you to do well, or you could come ask me who wants you to do well, who wants you to bring home that fantasy football championship, to hit that subscribe button this year. So, yeah, just think about it. Who do you really want to ask? I would ask the fantasy expert, person who is invested in you doing well, not your league mates who are invested in you doing poorly. But anyway, let's dive in these half-point PPR wide receiver rankings. Number 1, I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown against Tampa Bay. This is going to be a high-scoring one. He's been phenomenal this year. 2, JSN against Houston. He's demanded a ton of target volume this year. Got, I think, 50% of the targets or something like that this last week. Absolutely ridiculous numbers. And is just a super talented wide receiver. Sam Darnold's looked really, really good so far this year, so expect good things to continue for JSN moving forward. 3, Devontae Adams gets a massive boost with Puka and Nacua out. Expect him to be heavily targeted and heavily utilized, as he already has been in the red zone. So good things to come for Devontae Adams, especially in this one against Jacksonville, I think. 4, CeeDee Lamb against Washington. This is assuming he's back. He did practice today. I think he's probably going to play. And if he does, I'm throwing him right back into my top 5. I don't think they're going to baby him into anything. I think he's probably going to come out there and have 8 catches in that first week and be awesome for fantasy. 5, Nico Collins against Seattle. It hasn't been what you really wanted when you drafted Nico, but I still have sky-high expectations for him, honestly. 6, Justin Jefferson against Philly. This is a tougher matchup, and I'm more worried about the quarterback than Justin Jefferson. That's why he's a little bit lower on this list right now. If it's Carson Wentz, I think that Justin Jefferson will be fine because he's going to come out and sling it. But if it's J.J. McCarthy, I do worry a little bit. 7, Jamar Chase in the tough matchup. That's the main reason. But anyway, moving on to number 7, Jamar Chase against Pittsburgh. Saw him get it done last week against Green Bay with Joe Flacco. I think he's going to continue to get it done with Joe Flacco. He's one of the best receivers in the league, and Flacco is going to hyper-target him. So good things are going to come of that. 8, Drake London. He's been fantastic these last couple of weeks. I told people to keep the faith, not to jump off that ledge. It's working out. Keep playing Drake London. He's a stud. 9, Rashee Rice. You waited. Maybe you traded for him a little bit before he got back. Maybe you started 4-1, whatever it may be, but you waited, and Rice is back, and he's a top 10 play already in my mind. He's going to catch a ton of passes, be super consistent, be one of the best wide receivers in fantasy rest of the season. I would not be surprised at all if he ends up in his top 5 rankings next week, the week after that, something like that. I know he has a bye coming up shortly, but you guys know what I mean. 10, Rome Odunze. Plays New Orleans. Is a good matchup for him. Coming off a dead week, he'll be perfectly fine. 11, George Pickens against Washington. I think he's another guy that is going to be fine. Reason being, he's running an absolute ton of routes right now. They're a high-paced offense. The defense has been struggling. Dak has been slinging. I think there's enough to go around for George Pickens, even when CeeDee Lamb is back, to get that 20% target share. We've seen Jake Ferguson being producing at elite rates over these weeks. I could just see a little bit of his work going to George Pickens and a little bit of George Pickens' work that he was having when CeeDee was out, going back to CeeDee, but, being replaced by that Jake Ferguson. We've seen Ryan Flournoy have a great week as a number 2 option. George Pickens is much more talented. I think the domination he's had these last few weeks has just kind of changed the perception of everyone on the team about him. Not that they weren't high on him going in, but seeing the things he can do at the catch point after the catch, he's been fantastic, drawing penalties down the field. I think that's maybe where his role shifts, is maybe instead of getting some of those slants, some of those easier routes, design targets, maybe he gets slightly fewer targets, but more down the field ones that are more valuable anyway for fantasy football, where he can go out, make his whole day in one play. Anyway, DK Metcalf, I've got 12. Great matchup for him against Cincinnati. He's got a touchdown streak going. 13, Deebo Samuel. He could be the only guy, too. I do think Terry's probably going to play this week, but no matter what it is, should be a high-scoring game against Dallas, and they're 32nd against wide receivers right now. 14, Brian Thomas Jr. against the Rams. Back-to-back pretty solid games for Brian Thomas Jr., and I am buying in. He was a home buy low for a reason. I think he's going to be fine. Tougher matchup, but still, go out and play him. Cortland Sutton, another guy coming off a rough week Plays the Giants this week. He's the number one option in that passing game. Things are going to get better for that offense. I'm not worried. 16, Ladd McConkey plays Indy. I think this is going to be a pretty good game for fantasy, and I'm definitely playing Ladd. Very confident in him moving forward. There's going to be some dud weeks because there's 3 options in that passing game, but there's going to be some excellent weeks in there as well. 17, A.J. Brown against Minnesota. He had 80-something yards, I believe, in this last game. Tough matchup, but I think A.J. Brown will be fine and better days are ahead. We've seen their passing above expectation move up a lot of these weeks, week over week, as the season has progressed. Quentin Johnston against Indy. This is assuming he plays, but he practiced limited today with a hamstring, so I think he will probably suit up this week. Another guy who can make his whole day one play. He's a guy who needs 6-7 targets to be very productive for fantasy. 19, Jalen Waddle plays Cleveland. Tough matchup, but Waddle is the number one option in that passing game. 20, speaking of number one options in a passing game, Tedero McMillan, 2 touchdowns this last week against Dallas. We told you to buy low before that because it was going to hit. I'm not afraid of Sauce or the secondary there. Play Tedero McMillan. Chris Olave getting a ton of targets. I believe he's number 2 in the league right now, playing Chicago, a tough secondary, or tough it's a good matchup for Chris Olave is what I'm trying to say. So something to look at there. 22, Stephon Diggs. I think this is going to be a good one against Tennessee. I think they're going to try to run it up on him. 23, Mike Evans plays Detroit. This is assuming he's back. You got to monitor that. But if he's back, he's going to be the number one option in that passing game by quite a bit. So they're going to need him in the red zone and things like that. Even if he plays 50% of snaps, I think his target rate will be very high on those snaps. It'll make it work for fantasy. 24, Jameson Williams. I think this is the week you play him for sure in this match against Tampa Bay. They're going to need points, I believe, especially if they can get Mike Evans out there for Tampa Bay. So 25, Terry McLaurin. He plays Dallas. You got to monitor again if he plays, but it's a great matchup if he does. 26, T. Higgins. I am playing him, and I'm pretty confident. I just think he's got good touchdown upside. He's another guy I think he's going to get, Jamar Chase probably get 12 targets a game. I think T. Higgins get 8 to 10 targets a game. And I think that is going to, from Joe Flacco, from the trailing touchdown type of balls, fades, he's going to be able to make stuff work. 27, Keenan Allen against Indy. The target numbers have been good. The production is not. You need him to start cashing in some touchdowns because he's not going to have, a bunch of yak on one play or something like that. He's going to get done little by little. You need him to have those 6 for 70 type of games and get in the end zone to be productive for fantasy right now. 28, Xavier Worthy plays Las Vegas. I just think Rice is going to take over. Not that Worthy's a bad play. I definitely think you can still roll him out there. He's, a borderline wide receiver too. But I do think Rice is going to eat into his workload a lot. 29, Michael Pittman Jr. plays the Chargers. They should need him in that one. And Matthew Golden against Arizona. He's really started to shine these recent weeks. I do think you can play him moving forward. It's not the most confident play, but he's getting into that flex wide receiver 3 range for sure, the way I'm looking at things. Then some honorable mentions, Devonta Smith and Jordan Addison, both in tougher matchups, but I think they're great players. You can definitely roll out there. They can have a good game any single week, and I wouldn't feel bad if I'm playing those guys in my flex or my wide receiver 2 spot at all. And prepare for these bye weeks coming up, guys. Grab some guys on benches or make some moves if you need to prepare for these week 8 buys. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, just drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching.